Hello students, welcome back to class, and we're on lesson 8, grammar focus, past modals. All right, and so you can see the green box. Use would have or should have plus the past participle to talk about imaginary or hypothetical actions of the past. So now we're moving from the present tense into the past tense. The previous lesson, the conversation, remember? I told you you're going to write your answers using the past tense. What would you have done? I would have told her to leave. And so, past tense. What would you have done? That's a past tense question. I would have told her to leave. That's a past tense answer. I wouldn't have done anything. That's also a past tense answer. What should I have done? Okay, that's also a past tense question, and here are past tense answers. You should have spoken to her about it. You shouldn't have lied about it. So there's the positive answer and the negative answer. Look at the big box. So the big box comes from the teacher's book, and I want you to see this. Explain that we use would have plus past participle to talk about action in the past that were possible, but that in fact did not happen. So we're using would have about something that could have happened in the past, but it didn't happen. I would have done this. No, tell the students to consult the appendix at the back of their book whenever they need to check an irregular past participle form. So if you look at the back of your book, there is an appendix, some extra pages, extra information, and you can find irregular past participle forms in your appendix. Then write on the board these examples and others that the students suggest. What would you have done? What would you have done? I would have spoken to her sister. I wouldn't have said anything. All right, and so you're giving an answer about something that happened in the past, but it is a hypothetical answer. If I were there at that time, if I were with you when this happened, this is what I would have done. But it's hypothetical because the fact is you were not there. I hope that doesn't confuse you. Going on, we use should have plus the past participle to make a strong suggestion. So remember, should means to suggest that somebody ought to do something. To make a strong suggestion about a past event that did not, in fact, actually happen. So these are hypothetical. So one friend is asking another friend. Friend number 2 was not there. The action is already finished in the past. But friend number 1 is asking friend number 2, what would you have done? And so friend number 2 gives his or her idea and saying, I would have, or you should have. But we say it like this because we really were not there. We're only giving our idea that if we were there, or if we were in their situation, this is what we would have done, or we should have done. But it's hypothetical, as we've been studying. Write on the board these examples. What should I have done? You should have asked her to move to a hotel. You shouldn't have allowed her to stay so long. All right, and so that's the grammar focus. Here's a question I have for you. What would you do if someone came to your house and stayed for a long time and they weren't supposed to stay there? Maybe they stayed, you're in a rented room, maybe with your parents. What should we do in that kind of a situation? What would you do? What should we do? This is my thought. Cambodians are very kind and very generous. Cambodians might not do anything. They just allow them to stay there. Americans are not that way. Americans, we like independence and we like privacy. And so if someone stays at our house too long, it's not good. And so you should think about that. If you ever have the opportunity to visit or stay with an American, you should ask first, how long can I stay? How many days, how many weeks? So you make the agreement before. That's what should be done. Look at letter A, exercise A. Read the situations in column A. What would have been, past tense, what would have been the best thing to do? Choose suggestions from column B. So this is similar to our last exercise like this, and there's more than one correct answer. And so because there's more than one correct answer, you can see on the left, I wrote possible answers. All right? And so this is your assignment. I gave you the answers, but I want you to choose for the 5 questions. For example, question number 1, the teacher borrowed my favorite book and spilled coffee all over it. There are 3 possible consequences. I want you to choose one, and I want you to write it, and I want you to record your voice and send it to me. All right? The teacher borrowed my favorite book and spilled coffee all over it. It could be A, you should have spoken to him about it. It could be C, I would have spoken to the teacher about it. Or it could be F, I wouldn't have said anything. All right, so I want you to write the predicament, and then I want you to write how you would respond to the consequence, and then I want you to record your voice. So you're going to write 5 sentences, and look, in most of these sentences, there's more than one answer. You choose the answer that would represent how you feel and what you would have done or should have done, and then send it to me. Write it, and then send me your voice message as well, all right? And so that's your homework for this session, this lesson, and I will see you in the next lesson.